Hi YouTube, I'm Joshua Defarina. You know what John Clark Matthews forgot to do? He made two Curious George stories. First two Curious George stories. One is Curious George and another Curious George goes to the hospital. I'm gonna tell you guys right now that let's see. What was I gonna tell you? Um 60-minute stop motion animated shorts were produced by two Curious George stories, but they forgot to do a third Curious George story. Curious George at the fire station. You know where those 6 firefighters appeared in the Curious George story? You know, so 6 of them were unaware that it was George and thought it was a real fire. But when they rushed to the man's house, they found no fire, but a naughty monkey, which is George. The firefighter grabbed one arm, and the skinny firefighter grabbed one arm, and the fat one grabs the other. After those firefighters catch him, they arrest him for the false alarm. So they told George, since he fooled the fire department, those 6 had to shut him up where George can't do any more harm. George wanted to get out of prison. Just then the watchman came in to catch George and bail him out of jail. Get him out of jail. But the watchman, however, was so heavy, and the bed tipped over and pinned him against the wall. This stalled the watchman and he buys George the time to run out the open door. But John Clark Matthews was supposed to do a third 16 minimum stop motion animated short, Curious George at the fire station. He made first 2 Curious George stories, Curious George and Curious George Goes to the Hospital, but they forgot to do a third. He forgot to make a third Curious George short titled Curious George at the Fire Station. 6 firefighters from the Curious George story appears in the Curious George at the Fire Station. 6 of them offered to give George the fireman hat, stating that George wants to be a firefighter when he grows up. I'm going to show you what them firemen looked like in the Curious George story. Okay? Look at those 6 firemen. They were supposed to appear in Curious George at the fire station story, okay? But failed. So, all I know is John Clark Matthews forgot to make a third Curious George story. Third entitled Curious George at the fire station. 6 of them firefighters from the story, both of them were unaware that it was George and thanked it was a real fire. Okay? But George, you did not need to fool the fire department. I learned that I can't call 911 because 1, it's illegal, and 2, it get myself in trouble, and 3, it causes me to fool the police station, and 4, it's not a good idea, and 5, it could get myself thrown in prison for calling the cops. Everyone else can call the cops, but not me. Unless they ask me to, I'll call the cops 1 time, but not multiple times. Okay? Alright. Peace. Stay up to date and subscribe. Alright, bye.